So onto your mats and feet in parallel, just for our postural checkup this morning, just getting ourselves into our Pilates space, trying to shut away any distractions and really focusing on you and your body. Okay, so we're going to just think about how we are in our skeletal mass, our skeleton. So hands down by your sides. And just gentle breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. So starting off by just easy breathing. Noticing the cool air coming in through the nostrils and then the slightly warmer air leaving out through those parted lips, as is the way for our Pilates breathing. Okay, so gentle breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. As you breathe in, just go back to our Pilates fundamentals. Think about where this breath is being sent. You're trying to imagine it into this upper thoracic area, so the area of the spine located around the rib cage. So you're going to be breathing in and expanding into this lung area and letting the lovely ribs and this upper body have a bit of a stretch up and outwards as you inhale. And then maybe taking your thoughts a little bit further through that spine, imagining perhaps that stretch as you breathe in, coming up through the cervical spine at the back of the neck, right up to that base of the skull, and perhaps allowing yourself to think about right down the base of the lumbar spine, down here, coming into your pelvis. Those big chunky guys at the base of the spine, the L5 up to 1, just the term for those lower vertebrae, just breathing in and finding some space in between the vertebrae. And as you exhale, just conversely start to think about that activation of the muscles. So as the air breathing out of your body leaves your body, drawing in through this lovely center. Imagining perhaps a corset or a belt around your middle, just gently tightening as the air leaves the body. That belly coming to spine, that lovely area under the pelvic floor, just drawing up around the areas of wind and water. And allowing yourself to, with this lovely pull into the center, just feel a sense of just gentle relaxation with the soles of the feet. Taking control into your middle and allowing yourself just to sit perfectly placed above the pelvis and above the knee joints and above the ankles. One more breath in, growing nice and tall, expand through the rib cage. Exhale, drawing into your center, feeling gorgeously weightless through the legs and the arms and underneath the pelvic floor, engaging that lovely stability there under the pelvis. And open your eyes, bring yourselves back into the room. Okay, so we're going to work a little bit more on our lower bodies. So we're going to take ourselves to begin with a bit of a mobilizer for the lower section into a slightly wider stance, a plie stance. We had a little explore into this last week. Okay, so we're just going to soften the knees for everyone. Gently softening the knees, and our toes are heading towards the corners of the room. And those knees are kind of matching the direction of the toes. Try not to have them knocking in too much. All righty, and our hands are just going to come together towards the base of our tummy area, and you're going to think about creating this sort of curved arm. Okay, we don't often work here, we usually work with our arms quite straight, but go ahead and find that curved arm. We're going to look at a little bit more repeat work on the upper body, just trying to open up a little bit and stretch off from where we were last week with our upper body work. All right, so to begin with, we're just going to gently lift our arms, okay, to a shoulder height. And we created this hula hoop. We're going to do our first roll down. So you're going to take your chin towards the chest, and you're going to imagine your head is now diving through the middle of these arms, this hula hoop, and you're going to start to roll down here, allowing this rib cage now to head through the hula hoop, diving through towards the floor. Let the arms come with you towards the direction of the floor, wherever you feel comfortable. Okay, so it's just a gentle roll down, and then start to peel back up. Tummy and pelvic floors engaged. Start to lift the spine as if you're peeling up that spine vertebrae by vertebrae. Lift the arms with you so they come up to shoulder height and pause. You're going to do that one more time again. Knees nice and soft. Breathe in, exhale, chin to chest. Allow that skull to come through, diving through that hula hoop. Let the ribs to come down as well, diving also through, and then rolling down towards the floor. The hands, the fingertips heading towards the direction of the floor, and then gently peel yourself back up, tummy in, pelvic floor engaged, gently draw yourself back up, and the arms come with you, and we're into shoulder height. Gorgeous, well done. Still soft with those knees, remember, heading towards those toes, shoulder blades are back and down. Keeping these shoulders nice and low away from the earlobes, we're just going to double arm float with our arms in this position. So breathe in, exhale, and lift that arm shape up over towards the top of the head. Perhaps you can only get towards your nose or your temples. That is absolutely fine. But just don't get any higher by lifting those elbows and shoulders, okay? This is what we're not trying to do, okay? Trying to keep that shape. Breathe in, exhale, lift from the humerus, the arms, the shoulders, okay, the shoulder joint. Breathe in, exhale, lift, and remember to try and think about the exhale as you lift, pulling down those lower ribs towards your pelvis. Keep yourself connected as you lift your arms this last time, pausing with the arms towards our fronts. Okay, again, think about your shoulder placement staying low from the earlobes. We're going to draw our knees down further towards our toes into a squat position. We're not putting our bottom out towards the wall. We're allowing ourselves to slide down the wall. Okay, stay where you are, just double checking. We haven't gone into a squat. We're trying to allow ourselves to slide down the wall. Okay, maybe slightly coming in with that belly button to spine a little bit, possibly even tucking the tailbone under if you feel like you've pushed your bottom out and you can't help but arch your lower spine. Gently pull that tummy in, slightly pelvis in. Okay, as we come down, if you're not there already, drawing yourself down, knees are soft. Open out your elbows. Okay, so you've still got soft arms. I'm not asking you to broaden the arms. Okay, pull the shoulder blades together. Really feel the shoulder blades squeezing together as you come back up in your straight leg position. Our fingertips meet. Breathe in, exhale, down, knees to toes, pull shoulder blades together. Try not to think about those elbows heading down to the waist. You're staying in parallel to the shoulder. That's better, well done. Breathe in, exhale, staying high with the elbows, pull those shoulder blades together. Imagine them drawing in slightly over that spine there at the top of your spine between the shoulders. Okay, closing in like a lid over the top of the spine, softening the knees, last two. And last one. And pause here, release the arms and just gently walk your heel toe in towards your parallel position. We're going to go ahead and step towards the front edge of the mat so there's the full length of the mat behind us, okay? All righty, crossing over your hands across the chest. Let's try and think about that drawing in of your upper body center, your core, so you're nice and firm. And that will help us with our lunge back, okay, which can sometimes cause a few little balance issues. So we're going to start by just taking our right leg and popping it behind us, trying to think very carefully about keeping the heel and the toe, that back leg in parallel to the mat. We're trying really hard not to turn that leg out to lunge, okay? You're going to end up with all sorts of discomfort, perhaps, with those legs turned out. So keep in parallel to the front edge of the mat. We're stepping down and we're letting both knees bend into a gentle lunge, and then pressing on the back leg, bring yourself back to the front of the mat. Breathing in, switch sides, left leg back. Again, finding your comfortable position, softening both knees and draw yourself back to center. It's just a gentle lunge backwards and forwards. Breathing in, exhale, switch. Okay, modify accordingly. If you're feeling super balanced, you can always put your hands out to a T to your sides. Perhaps you prefer them on the waist. I'm not too fussy. I just want you to think about controlling the upper body, pulling yourself into your center so you feel like you're nice and engaged. And that will help with balancing and stabilizing the pelvis, and in turn allow you to be a little bit more balanced with your lunge back. So keep on going, lunging. We're switching from side to side. Once you find, sometimes you've done a few, it becomes a little bit more easier. The messages to your body a little bit more fluid. And last two. And whichever side you're on, just pausing back in a gentle lunge, comfortable position here, pausing back. We're going to lift our gaze as we did last week, imagining ourselves lifting our gaze and just going into gentle back extension. And this time you might feel a little bit more stretch or connection over the front of the hip flexor as well. So it's a gentle ease through the front of the chest. Don't throw the head back too far, okay? You're not looking to try and create some great arch position. It's just a gentle back opener. Okay, also just a chest opener, back extension, and then gently push yourself back, lift yourself to your start position, looking towards the horizon, and then with your back leg, push into standing. Switching sides, breathe in, exhale, gentle lunge back. Find your comfortable position here, nice and evenly weighted over those feet, okay? You're not launched or hinged forwards, okay? You're still keeping your body upright, eyes to the horizon. Breathe in, find space in the vertebrae, lift the gaze. And again, a gentle lift with the gaze, not too far if it throws you off completely with your balance. You don't need to lift very high at all. Okay, again, feel, notice, observe that slight extra stretch over the front of the hip flexor, a lovely stretch there for us. And then gently bring your eyes back to the horizon, engage the core with a breath in if you need to. Exhale as you draw yourself back to center. Well done. Okay, so guys, we're going to take ourselves onto the mats. I beg your pardon, we've got one more thing to do. And I think one more thing to do, bring yourself to the front of the mat. We've got a little bit of work moving these thigh bones out of that lovely aligned position we had a moment ago, and a bit of a challenge with our curtsy lunge. So take ourselves hand on hand, elbows to the side. Again, pull the shoulder blades back and down. Tummies are in. Okay, so let's think about our left leg. We're going to just go ahead and send the left leg slightly towards the back right corner of your mat. Okay, try if you can to keep a little bit still facing the front. Okay, so you've not turned unnecessarily to the left, so you're facing front. Gently soften that left leg. Okay, so you're still facing front, and it's a gentle soften, not too deep. Be careful here with this slight move to the side, and then we're going to come back through to center, feet in parallel. So go the second side with our right leg over to the left corner, gentle softening of the knee, and back to center, feet in parallel. Breathe in, facing forwards, gentle knee soften, and to center. Now, okay, guys, if you're feeling that this is not comfortable for you in the hips, if you've had any hip issues or trauma, you've got any discomfort through the hip, this movement to the side can be reduced. So you could just do a very gentle squat to the side, so you're barely moving that hip at all. Or if you want to go ahead, you can just find yourself into your gentle squat position, knees in parallel. Okay, so you're carrying on curtsying. Yeah, don't have to copy me. I'm just showing you the modification if you're feeling any discomfort. Well done. Adding in if you wish, or adding off on the progression if you wish. We have our arms into our wide position, reaching from fingertip to fingertip. Let's get some space in the shoulders, the elbows all the way to the fingertips. Last two. And then last one, pausing on this side. Okay, so if you can all join me with your left leg heading over towards the right. Okay, so as we come back to center this time, bring the fingertips together and draw yourself into a knee raise. Now, if a knee raise is a trouble, you can just go into a small little toe lift. And then we're going to head back over towards that right-hand side and extend the arms back into your center knee raise or toe touch to the center, over towards the right and to center. And the right, and to center. Last one, and to center. Breathe in and towards the left. Over that right leg goes, and to center. If you're in your parallel squats, I beg your pardon, I should have said, you're more than welcome to just do some knee raises here. You can still do your knee raises from standing, and you can add in your arms. You don't need to do the squats. You can just add in this as a modification. And last two. And final one. Great stuff. And bring yourself back to center. So that should get ourselves nice and mobile. Bringing ourselves onto the mats, okay? Taking ourselves down onto the mats, however which way you want. We're going to be lying in supine. So we know this is our standard lying position with our knees up towards the ceiling, hands by your sides. This time we're going to go ahead and pop those hands right up towards the buttocks, okay? So they're almost like little bookends, the thumbs maybe nestling under the outside edge of your bottom cheeks there. Okay, so go ahead and feel a little bit of a neutral spine for me, if you wouldn't mind. So you're finding that sense of that lovely triangle we've talked about before between the pubic bone and your hip bones. Are going to be thinking about being in parallel towards the mat. So you've not got an imprint, you're not dumping down into the lower back. You've got a little bit of a natural space in that lower back arch there. Okay, nothing forced, just feel like you've got your natural back shape, please. All right, so with our hands tucked up to our bottoms or to the sides of our bottoms, just go ahead and bring your right knee into your chest and extend that right leg towards the ceiling. We're going to just do in this neutral spine some small single leg circles, okay? So go ahead, visualize again that hula hoop if you can for me, or perhaps smaller if you want to, heading towards a dinner plate size. We're going to draw a circle on the ceiling with that single leg. Now, with yourself in neutral spine, you might feel you can't really get quite as big as maybe perhaps you're used to. So again, challenging your range of movement, challenging your brain, challenging your body position, okay, is important. Switching direction, small little control circles. Your supporting knee is bent, your pelvis is fairly stable, supported by these hands. Trying to make as much of a circle as possible and sort of less of an oval and less of a, maybe a hexagon might be going on, who knows? And then place that leg back down on the mat. Okay, let's go for the other side. So square up the pelvis, feeling stable to begin with. A little bit of a space in the lower back, hands butting up by your sides. Draw your left knee into your chest and go ahead and extend that leg to the ceiling. Feeling the length through the leg, we're now going to draw the same kind of size circle on this side. Round we go with a toe, painting that circle on the ceiling. Be mindful that you're trying not to take the whole body with you. It can be a little bit encouraging to, or your body wants to just kind of rock and roll with the pelvis, the other knee getting joined in here. Okay, we're not inviting everyone to the party. You're isolating if you can. So reverse direction, guys, reverse direction. Isolating is the key in Pilates. We're trying to make sure that everyone gets a little look in. Their time to shine. Reversing if we haven't done already for this last one. And place your leg back down onto the mat. Okay. Allow yourself to just have a little bit of imprint now. Perhaps that feels more comfortable for you, but if not, you're just going to think about that pubic bone pulling slightly towards your nose. So now it's slightly higher than your hip bones. Yes, this angle here. And you feel a little bit more of a connection in the lower spine into the mat. All right. You don't need to be pressing too deep. You're engaging too intensely. It's just a gentle feel of a little bit more of a squish down onto that lower spine. Okay. So the hands are in a slightly different position now. We are going to actually lift our bottom physically off the mat. Place your hands under the fleshy part of the belly. Okay, so not in that arch we've just talked about, but under the bottom part of your fleshy buttocks there. Okay, go ahead and draw your right leg into tabletop for me, please. So remember that's knee over hip. Breathe in, exhale, left leg into tabletop. Okay. So these guys are parallel, the shins are in parallel to the floor. You've got a little bit of imprint going on that lower back, chin slightly in towards your chest base, shoulders relaxed. Okay, so from here, guys, I'm going to just ask you simply to open your legs wide. So you're just widening the knees away from each other. The shins stay exactly where they were, and then you come back to center and just a little bit of a squeeze to center. Out with a breath in, and exhale, go ahead and squeeze knees, ankles, toes together. Feeling the inner thigh connection as those legs come together. Now, of course, always modifications, all right? If you're feeling this is a struggle, you can pop those feet back down on the mat, and you're more than welcome to open the knees wide into frogs and then back together with a squeeze. Okay, yeah, so your modification if you're struggling with these legs in tabletop, or not struggling, but you find it a challenge or any discomfort, squeeze together. Last one. And then gently pause here in parallel, place one foot down and back down with the other. Okay, have a little moment. So we're going to do a second set, and as always there's an option to do a progression level. All righty, this level is going to be with our legs extended, so this means you're going to bring yourself into tabletop. For those of you who are happy in tabletop, you can stay there or even with the legs on the floor. Otherwise you're going to extend your legs to the sky. Feel that slight imprint and squishing into the mat if you can for me, guys. You're going to open the legs wide, breathe in, exhale, pull the legs together and wide. Continuing in tabletop, if you are there, that's no problem at all. You're still thinking of that squeeze for every one of the legs as they come together to the midline. And out with a breath in, with an exhale, you come together. Last two. And last one. And gently bend the knees, place one foot down and bend the other. Okay, wonderful. Alrighty, so we've got a little bit of extra work here. We have, again, as always, lots of levels. So we're going to start off with our tabletop version and then go ahead and modify. Breathing in, exhale, slight imprint in the lower back, draw your right leg into tabletop and go ahead with the left leg into tabletop as well. Okay, so guys, if you are potentially uncomfortable here, you're more than welcome to just do our next piece, which is our butterfly legs, by gently crisscrossing your ankles, okay, wrong end of the body, ankles one over the other, just gently hopping them over each other like little tiny semicircles or half curves with one heads over the other. Okay, our next level for you guys up, if you were working with legs, please go ahead now into your extended legs towards the ceiling. We're going to breathe in, press down with the tailbone on the lower spine, and we're going to do the same again. So for everyone now, we're just going to hop those legs, whether you're in tabletop or extended, in front of the other and behind. So it's just a crisscrossing over Okay, so we're going to switch and switch and switch and switch for 8 and 7 and 6. Keep those toes pointing towards the center. Try not to have those toes pointing out to the side of you. And I think that might be 4, might be 3. Guess who's not counting? Last 2. And final 1. Gently draw the legs into tabletop if they're not there already. Place one down at a time and pause. Release the hands, bring your knees into your chest. Well done. Okay, gentle little circles if you wish around those hips, that is not a problem. And the other way. Okay, so folks, we're going to take ourselves into a sideline piece. We did some side bend works and sideline last week, so I'm conscious and aware this is quite big on our shoulders, so I'm going to give you lots of modifications to try and lower the level of intensity. So let's go off onto our sides, rolling onto your side here. Okay. So we are currently down the center of the mat, all righty, and I want you to make sure your knees are on top of each other. We are then going to bend the lower leg so that your heel comes up towards your bottom, but please make sure that those knees are on top of each other, okay? So those knees are stacked. All righty. So to begin with, we're going to think about this top leg, okay? So the top leg is just going to lift very gently off the floor. So this is nice, easy work. What I want to make sure, I should one little cue that's very important for this whole piece, okay, is remembering to lift that rib cage. Imagining a little tiny mini bonfire going on underneath here, okay, underneath your chest. You want to lift the ribs as far away from that mini bonfire, and I want you to keep that top hip facing forwards, okay? It's kind of easy to roll back onto the glutes and buttocks. Keep yourself on the hip there. Okay, so going to lift our top leg just gently to the side and down. Please work within your own range, okay? Of course, it might be a tiny little hop. It might be a good lift up towards that hip height. Try and remember that your knees are coming down towards each other, okay? If you find yourself heading backwards and your knees cutting that lower leg in half, you've rolled back perhaps too much. Try not to draw that knee too far in front of you, but do modify if you feel like it's uncomfortable. But that is what I'm asking ideally. Keeping that rib cage lifted so there's space here, okay? Space in this upside of the body here. If you're dumping down, you won't have that space. You're crunching through the waist, okay? And we're creating, we're not creating the right alignment through the spine, okay? And balance through the muscles, okay? So let's go ahead and find that space. We've just got one more, place the leg back down. Now, again, this might be not just enough for you, in which case you can go ahead and do a second set. If you feel like we can work on a progression, we're going to go ahead to where we were last week. The lower leg is bent, remember, so it's slightly easier. We're going to lift our hip and lower. Okay, so it's a small hip lift and lower. If this isn't for you, okay, you can just do your leg lifts if you wish here for one more set. Or you can modify, don't forget, of course, with 2 knees towards the front, and it's a little bit easier, okay, without that top leg extended. So we've got 4 more, and 3, and 2, and last one, come back down. Okay, everyone just pause down for a moment, have a little rest. We're going to show you the next piece because it's an add-on, all right? So have a little moment off your shoulder, just flop about as necessary, just while you watch me demonstrate this for a second. Okay, so we did our leg lifts. We were nicely aligned. We did our leg lifts. We did our hip lifts. We're going to see if we can this week, as a progression from last week, lift the 2 together. So when you lift your hip, you're going to lift your leg, and then you come back down, kiss the floor with your hip, breathing in, staying long through the neck, exhale. Remember, you're projecting yourself up and over the shoulder. Try and take the weight off the shoulder joint itself, okay? So when you're ready, bring yourself back up, elbow under shoulder. Okay, that's great. All righty, remember you can modify if you wish to. If you would like to, you can have your top hand just supporting you. That may be enough to just help you have a little bit more extra to press down onto. So go ahead and have a go. Alternatively, you can actually bring your knees forward and you can lift, and perhaps you can just think about the top knee lifting and down. Okay, so many modifications. Lift the top hip and knee. Okay, so off we go. Lifting a hip and leg and lift. We've got 8 more. That's 8. And down. And 7. And 6. And 5. Last 4. And 3. And 2. Oh, well done. Our last one. and pause. Gorgeous, well done. Okay, guys, roll onto your backs for me. Just take a little bit of weight off the shoulders there for a moment and hang out here for a second, okay? So lying down on your backs, okay, again, it's our supine position. And I want you to bring your legs together and your knees together, okay? Make sure you remind yourself a little bit of a flashback to last week when we talked about really standing in these arms, okay? I'm going to get you to bend now your elbows, okay? So your fists are towards the ceiling. So this is just a hold position for the arms. I don't want you to press into those elbows, okay? Feel that upper arm working. This is to do a little bit of avoid what was happening last week where people were pressing into their fingers, okay? And lifting the wrists and using that as your stabilizer. Let's go ahead and find these elbows as stabilizers and activate a little bit more the shoulders perhaps this week. Our knees are coming out wide, please. So those feet are still together. Perhaps you might roll so the soles are slightly more touching. That is fine, I don't mind that. And knees are out wide. Okay, so let's go and see if we can find a segmental raise into bridge. So we're going to pull the pubic bone towards us, lift the buttocks. I'm going to just get you to freestyle it slightly up into your bridge position, okay? When you head up into your full bridge, start to sink down the upper ribs. They're coming down onto the mat, through the mid-spine, down onto your little tailbone and push the pubic bone away. So find your flow. Imagine yourself like an undulating wave, peeling up and peeling down. We did a lot of breakdown into this lift into bridge last week. So try and think about how you were able to lift your pubic bone and mobilize the lumbar spine. Then we brought ourselves into a slightly easier thoracic spine lift and then come back down. On this next time, I'm going to get you to come up and pause. Remember, you're stepping into those elbows. Your neck is long. You're gently pulling your kneecaps, and maybe you can visualize your pelvis pulling towards the other end of the mat. Okay, so you're not dumping down into this neck and shoulders, but you're trying to lift yourself nice and long towards the end of the mat. Yes, so the spine's got space. That is because from here, we're going to allow ourselves to hinge the buttocks to the floor. So we're no longer peeling. We're just going to let the bottom sink down to the floor. Knees kind of staying where they are, nice and wide, and then pressing back up with the hip bones. Down with the breath in, staying long and open in this lovely front of the spine. Exhale as the hips come up towards the sky. Using those elbows still, breathe in. Exhale, press into the elbows, squeeze the buttocks high and down with a breath in. Big exhale, tummy in and pelvic floor perhaps as well, engaging as you exhale and lift. And two more. Still pulling yourself towards your toes there, not allowing yourself to dump into the shoulders, push into the elbows. And we're going to hold this next time you're up. So bring yourself up. Remind yourself to pull towards those toes so you feel like you're possibly stretching this lower abdomen here nice and long. And we're going to now from here pulse those hip bones a little bit higher to the ceiling and down. So it's a press and down, a press and down, press and down. Okay, any discomfort, you're more than welcome to head those feet back into parallel if you'd rather. If you don't feel like you want the turnout, the external rotation of those thighs. Okay. If you want to, of course, you can peel back down and just have a rest with the knees hugging into your chest. Totally up to you for 4, for 3. Think long towards those knees. That's it, last one. And then gently, we're going to come back down segmentally. So think of your back peeling down, uncurling down onto the mat, down, down, down. Release your hands, knees to the ceiling and pause there. Well done. Okay. Now I'd like you now to go ahead and let your right leg head out towards the side of the mat. So it's flopping down, almost like a half frog leg stretch. Take your hands and widen them so they're broader than the mat. They're kind of out the way of that knee that's just rolled out to the side, okay? So just pop them out wider, wherever that may be. Your left foot is now going to very gently come over and rest the heel around the ankle position. So for some of you, that might be comfortable to rest it below the ankle. For some of you, you might prefer to be just slightly above the ankle, wherever it's comfortable, really. Okay. And I want you now to think about your shoulder blades. They're both perfectly evenly weighted on the mat now. And I want you to think about there being a couple of blobs of super glue under those shoulder blades, and they're going to stay where they are. We're going to articulate the bridge now slightly over towards the side of our spine. Okay, so we've done some work with this with our hip lowers. We're going to do this slightly differently, opening out the pelvis a little this week. So shoulder blades are down, breathe in, and I want you to start to think about peeling up your pubic bone towards your nose and your buttocks off the mat, starting to lift the whole of the body off the mat now. And you're almost trying to think about that body and pelvis angled over towards the right, although your shoulder blades are still on the mat. Release from the shoulder blades now, the upper thoracic spine around the rib cage there, peeling down vertebrae by vertebrae, down onto the mat into your start position. We're going to do 3 more here, okay? So when you're ready, breathe in, peeling up. Practiced your peel a moment ago, drawing yourself up into your bridge, pressing your hips over towards the side, shoulders are down, breathe in, and release that down. Well done. 2 more, peeling up, up, up. Well done, and back down. And final time. Breathe in, exhale as you lift. When you get to the top, take a lovely breath in and exhale as you allow the vertebrae to just come down onto the spine, onto the mat one by one. And then gently release that left foot onto the mat, lift your right knee up to the sky and bring yourself back to center with the pelvis. Arms are still wide, let the left leg go over towards the side in a half frog's leg, lift your right foot and place it where you find kind of comfortable, that little parking space with a heel, perhaps on the side of the ankle, underneath or below the bone, not on the bone if you can, please. Shoulder blades are still glued down, breathe in. Spine is long, exhale, start to peel your pubic bone off the mat, see how it feels on this side, lifting the buttocks and coming up onto both shoulder blades, evenly weighted, but the hips are lifted and heading over towards the left. Peel back down, nice and gently, slow with control, down onto the mat and relax. 3 more times, breathe in. Exhale, lifting up, press, open the pelvis, and release that down. And 2 more times, breathing in and lift, lift, lift. And final time, down, down, down. Gorgeous. Releasing the right foot onto the mat, draw your left knee to the ceiling, bring your knees into your chest. Okay. So the savvy of you there shouting out to me about, what about the side bend on the other side? I have not forgotten. I have not forgotten. So once you've done this lovely lying down back, your shoulders should be now superbly rested. We're going to roll the knees towards the side and we're going to do our side bend work on the other side. So you're going to switch over. Okay, so you're looking towards the other or heading towards the other end of the mat. All righty, so your elbows underneath the shoulder. All right, remember you're thinking about those knees on knees, hips are stacked as well. You're down the midline of the mat, bend the lower leg to 90. Again, knees on knees, check. That little tiny bonfires underneath us, they're lifting the rib cage, forcing us to lift the rib cage nice and long. Neck is here, not hanging down here, not looking up towards what's going on. Nice and aligned. All righty, well done. Okay, so first things first, let's explore the side lift of this top leg. All right, so breathing in, let's exhale as you lift your leg to the side and lower. Okay, remember that lift of the rib cage will give you space here. Okay, that gives us space and lengthen through this upper side of the top of the waist and hips. Breathe in, exhale as you lift. And last 2. Knees coming back down on top of each other, check, remember, okay, so that leg hasn't gone off towards the side and you're not just lifting towards the back, it's knee on knee, and then pause here. Okay, so we're modifying now with our lift to the bottom. Remember, if you did struggle on the other side and you know this is not good for you or your shoulder, bring your knees together and you can lift here. Okay, otherwise your legs are extended, breathe in, exhale, go ahead and lift your hip into your side bend for our second week of practice. Okay, maybe it doesn't feel quite so tough this week. Breathing in, exhale, lift. And last 2. And final 1, pausing down. Okay, so here's our challenge. We're going to try and add the 2 pieces together. So as you hip lift, you leg raise. Remember, if you're working with your legs forwards, or your modification is a hip lift and a knee raise, okay? That is fine. That is your modification. I'll show you again the hip lift and the knee raise. Okay, so if you're out with your leg to the side, we're going to go ahead now and we're going to hip lift and leg lift at the same time, adding the 2 things together. Now with this leg lifting, it's quite tempting to push into that hip by losing our alignment of the shoulder over the elbow. Keep thinking, is my shoulder staying over the elbow? Am I still almost diving out the top of my head to the side of the room or the top of your mat? Yeah, keep that thought in your mind. Keep space in the spine as you lift for 6 more. We did quite a few. So do modify if you need to, 5. Or have a little rest for 4 and 3. Last 2 and final 1. Gorgeous, well done, fantastic. Okay, so guys, we're all going to now stay on the same side, but extend this arm out underneath your elbow. So again, ear. Get the right part of the body would help. If you want to pop a cushion underneath your ear, you're more than welcome to go ahead and put it between the ear and your arm. Sometimes it can feel like your head's hanging out here a bit too much. Or if your shoulder is not comfortable here, or you're finding it's a bit tough from where you were a moment ago and it's getting a bit tired, bring it to the front and put a cushion under your ear here. Okay. Alrighty, so choose your position here. We're going to do a bit of side lying work, side kick. Okay, so we're going to start off by just side lying work with our plie work before we do side kick. What am I talking about? So your legs are now in parallel to the side of you. So you're just thinking about maybe being able to check out your toenails. Yeah, so just having a look, you can see your toenails there if your toes or feet are flexed. Top hand is just supporting us in front of the belly button area. So it allows us to keep our shoulder blades back and down. And we're going to start off by just lengthening those legs through a nice space in the legs and gently draw your top leg so your toe is roughly on that knee joint area. And just have a think about, we've done some nice opening of the hips. Just think about opening off the hip so your knee is heading a little bit more up towards the ceiling. Okay, so you've opened up the hip. And you're not rolling back on your buttocks, but you're using this press of the knee to just keep a nice space at the front of the pelvis. Go ahead and just gently draw that knee in towards your shoulder and touch your knee joint, and then slide your toes back into the start position, and then perhaps knee facing forward, hips are stacked. You can feel this is your alignment and first starting position. Breathe in as your toe comes towards your knee joint. Lift the knee towards the sky and gently draw your knee up towards your shoulder, and your toe comes away from the knee joint. Toe touches the knee joint, sliding your leg away, and legs are back in parallel. Let's do 2 more. Breathing in and sliding the knee up towards the ceiling, toes to knee joint, knee into shoulder, and down, and in parallel. And last one. Gorgeous. And this last time, finishing with the legs in parallel. Okay, guys, so again, that might be enough for you with our second set, and you can do another round of those. If you feel like you can go into a slight level higher, we're going to modify by when we come to knee to shoulder, we're going to go into leg extension. This may then feel like you're slightly rolling a little bit over towards the back of you. That is okay. So let's talk this one through together. And well, let's walk and talk it. Let's do it together. Breathe in, exhale, drawing your toe towards your knee. Your knee joint. Your knee now comes in towards your shoulder, that's the top knee, and from here we're going to lift our leg into gentle extension, so you're reaching that leg and straightening. Flex at the foot, so everyone flexing at the foot and pull down with the heel. Okay, your feet come into parallel and point. Pointing towards your inside of the knee joint, lift your top knee towards your shoulder and into extension. Really reach to the heel as you pull down towards the lower leg, and feet are in parallel. Last time, either lifting and extending the knee, or just extending the leg, or just lifted the knee. I don't mind which one, wherever you're at. Heel pulling down and gorgeously into parallel. Well done, wonderful. Okay, so from here, we're going to just go ahead and we're going to go into our legs forward. So that the front corner of the mat, just gently lifting both legs and settle them down there. We're going to bring ourselves up now into a high arm position. So your elbow is now, your hand is now underneath the side of your head. So if you can all go ahead and do that, that would be super. Okay, so find some space again by gently pulling your upper body to the side of the mat, and legs along as if there's 2 pieces of string pulling you away to each end of the mat. Okay, as I say, legs are just the front corner of the mat. If you want to turn your toes under, if it's available to you, and your lower leg, it just gives you a little bit of a pinpoint, like we're doing with our hand, a little bit something to press on. Top leg is pointed and go ahead and lift to your hip height. Now we're going to bring that leg forwards, just gently bringing it towards the front, trying to keep it hip height if you can, and then sweep that leg behind you. Okay, bring the leg forward, sweeping forwards for our side kick, and send that leg away behind you. Well done. And forwards, and back, and forwards, and back. Well done. Last time forwards. When we're at forwards, just pause here, bring your knee into your chest. Notice how your knee's into your chest, but it's still parallel towards your hip height, okay? So you're not down on the floor here, and your heel is close up towards your bottom. Keep this as a one little single unit and send that leg towards the back of you. So your heel is up towards the bottom still. You're feeling a stretch, I hope, at the front of the hip flexor. Now extend that back leg out towards the back corner of the mat. Nice and long. Reach that leg really long. You're still pressing into that lower leg if you can. Sweep the leg forwards, just as you did a moment ago for side kick. Bend the knee into chest, heel to bum. Send that leg behind you and extend to the back corner of the mat. One more time, drawing forwards and knee to chest. Send the leg behind you and reach that leg to the back. Pause with the leg towards the back of the room, please, guys. Now bring the heel towards your bottom. Draw your knee into chest. So reversing our cycle and our leg comes forward. Sweep the leg behind you. Pause here. Reach, reach, reach. Heel to bum. And then really pull that knee into chest for our final time. Forwards with the leg, reaching behind, heel to bum, knee into chest. Well done, gorgeous. Pausing now, placing that leg back down on the floor. Okay, so go ahead and place both legs one on top of each other. Bring them back into parallel. So one more time, checking out, you can just see the toenails and feeling like you're nice and aligned. Okay, so this is everything down the middle of your mat. Okay. Now, of course, guys, you can modify with your leg, your arm position. If you're feeling here, you want to have your arm back out again. It's feeling a bit uncomfortable. Choose to have your arm out there or to the front. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and keep my arm as it is, because what I want us all to do, no matter where your arm is find a bit of a lift in the rib cage. Okay, even if you're down here, you can still think about pulling in that tummy, lifting the rib cage, so you can maybe slice or slide a tiny piece of paper under the ribs. Okay, that can still be there, because there will always be shoulder joint down the mat. That's going to be your touch point. There is some room for lift here, yeah, because this bit is more mobile. The shoulder is the bit that's down. Okay, so from here we're going to breathe in, press both legs to the together and reach to the end of the mat. Think about your lower leg. Okay, this is the guy I want you to think about. The lower leg is going to be lifting off the mat. Okay, sounds weird, but you're lifting the lower leg off the mat, and the top leg is just kind of going to come for a ride. Okay, down we go, breathing in. Exhale, imagine it's a lower leg lift. Okay, so if I say to you double leg lift, sometimes all the energy goes into the top leg, thinking of the top leg working. Take your thoughts to the bottom leg. He's giving the top leg a lift and a lower. As you lift, pull down the shoulder blades and really think about projecting yourself again towards the end of the room, out the crown of the head. You might even start to feel that you get that kind of response lift of the rib cage. Okay, so maybe you're just happening to feel like the upper body is also doing something apart from just kind of dumping down and pressing into the floor. Try and find that lovely length of the spine through the top of the head, shoulder blades down as you lift. And before you know it, you've got a little bit more room to be able to get those double legs lifting a little bit higher. We're going to lift and pause with the legs raised if you can here for me, guys. If you're struggling with a double leg lift here, more than welcome to just work on a single leg lift if it's not available for you. We're going to now split the legs, one forwards and one backwards for our scissors. Breathing in, exhale and switch. Breathe in, exhale and switch. And switch, and switch, and switch for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Bring the legs back together and draw them down with grace and control. Well done. Bring those knees in together. We're going to take ourselves over to the other side. Okay. And we're going to just head back into our side lying work with our knees drawing into our plie knee and our legs extending. So you can choose where you want your arms to be. Okay, I think we're all kind of at a position where we can have our arms like so, with our head supporting, hands supporting our head, beg your pardon. You're down the middle of the mat, remember, so you're nice and long. You can just about see those toenails, but lengthen those legs nicely along the mat and find a little bit of lift of the rib cage. And your top hand is just resting you in front of that belly button. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and let our top leg slide now. So your toe comes towards the inside of your lower knee joint. And again, just pause for a second for me and find that opening of the pelvis that we had when we did our bridge work. Okay, so try and think about creating some space here, but not necessarily by rolling onto the buttocks, okay? So you're keeping that hip pushing forwards, even though you're trying to lift the knee to the sky. If you're feeling that you can only head here, that is fine. That's not a problem either, okay? Or perhaps you could lower the foot so it doesn't quite get up to the knee joint. That is also fine. You maybe just want to get here and open your pelvis. That is not a problem. Okay, so we're going to then just gently lift the knee towards our shoulder. Try not to collapse and dump down towards it. You're still thinking it's the knee pulling this way. And then your toe comes back to the knee joint and extend. Legs now in parallel, hips are facing forward. Breathe in, grow long, exhale. And in towards your shoulder. Toe touch down and slide into parallel. Gently opening out the pelvis, rotating that femur in towards the shoulder and down. And our last time, breathing in. Exhale. And pausing here. Okay, as mentioned before, hang out there with another set if you wish, or we can go into our single leg extension. So when you're ready, breathe in and up comes the knee towards the shoulder, extending your leg. If it's comfortable, flex at the foot there. So you pull down with the heel and you end in point and parallel point towards the inside of the knee joint, or where you are comfortable, knee towards shoulder, and extension. Pull down with the heel, stretch the back of that leg area there. Knees are coming in and leg extending, heel down. Oh, one more time for luck. And in we come with that toe. Open up the pelvis as much as you can, keeping the hips forward, single leg extension, flexion with the ankle, and down, down, down. And knees are on top of each other and legs in parallel. Gorgeous, well done. Okay, so here guys, we're gonna bring those toes towards the front corner of the mat. Again, tuck those little toes under on the bottom foot if you can, if it's comfortable for you. Modify your arms where you want to, okay, for the side kick. Alrighty, so remember, you're thinking that you're going to be nice and long through the top of the crown of the head, maybe a slight lift the rib cage, and top leg lifts at hip height. Forwards with our side kick now towards the front and send that leg out towards the back. Breathing in, we come forwards. Exhale, send to the back. And we're finding that lovely big range of movement. And also trying to keep, of course, control to the upper body. So we're not, as I showed you there, not rolling and rocking and twisting too much. Pausing here with the leg forwards at hip height. Draw your knee into your chest. And your heel, remember, is tucking right up towards that bottom area. Keeping this shape, you're now going to send that leg towards the back of you. And just pause here and embrace that lovely stretch at the front of the hip. Send that leg now out towards the back corner of the mat and really feel that lovely stretch as you created almost this banana shape, okay, across the front of the hips. Draw your leg forwards towards me like a side kick, knee into chest. Remember alignment, and then send that leg to the back. Always trying to think knees, ankles, and hip joints are working at the same height off the floor. Okay, so as you send that leg behind you, don't be tempted to send it up towards the moon. Okay. And we're going to pause with the leg behind us here. Pause with the leg there. And then gently bring your heel now towards your bottom. We're going to reverse it and bring your knee into your chest. Single leg extension to the front. Sweeping the leg behind you. Stretch and lengthen. Bottom, so heel to bottom, knee to chest. And last one, sweep and reach. Heel to bum. And knee to chest. Well done, glorious, well done. Okay, taking that leg down onto the floor and gently bring your legs together in parallel and down the middle of the mat again. Checking that you can see those toenails nicely aligned in case you've gone onto a bit of a twist or wonk, hip on hip, shoulder over shoulder. A gentle lift as well if you can of the rib cage. And remember to pull yourself forwards, up and over that shoulder. The legs are now pointing and nice and long, reaching the other way. Thoughts towards that bottom leg. Remember, he's the big guy in this. You're going to let that lower leg lift the top leg as high as it can and back down. Breathing in. Exhale, lift. And lower. And lifting. And lowering. Of course, if you're really struggling with this particular piece being a double leg lift, you can just have one leg up and you can just do a small lift of the lower leg towards the top leg. Okay. All righty, just starting to make those muscles think they're moving will be enough to just innervate the muscles, engage them into contraction. Okay, you don't have to do the lift if you can't. And we're going to pause with the lift if you can. If your legs are lifted and you're pausing here, we're going to go into our scissors. All righty, so you're going to breathe in, exhale and switch, and switch, and switch. Thinking about that rib cage lift, guys, trying to still think about the upper body being active. You work as many muscles as you can as we switch forwards with control and backwards from that tummy, nice and controlled for 4, for 3, for 2, last one. Well done. Gently bring those legs back down. Wonderful. Okay, so folks, we're going to head on to our tummies. And to begin with, our arms are going to be in what we call our Sphinx position, or elbows tucked by the side of the rib cage, palms are face down. Okay, so gently facing down. Then we're going to plop our forehead onto the mats. And legs are parallel, so they're roughly hip width apart, these legs. Okay, they're not too close. Now, I want you to think about lovely elbows. These elbows are going to, again, dig into the mat, just like we did with our bridge work. Sense of the elbow pressing down and the shoulder blades pulling back towards your hip or your buttock area. And you'll start to feel that slight roll back of the shoulders and maybe a little bit of space happening around the back of the neck and the top of the rib cage, yes? Now it feels a little bit uncomfortable at the moment, but we're going to just capitalize on this rolling back in space that you've made and breathe in. And as you exhale, bring the belly into spine, perhaps the pelvic floor area too, and lift your forehead off the mat. Press into those elbows and pull down again with those shoulder blades, even the armpits, that sense of the armpit pulling down towards your hip bones there, and then come back onto the mat. Now you're not lifting your gaze, you're going to just breathe in as you lift the forehead, dig into the elbows, feel yourself looking down and the forehead isn't parallel to the mat, and pull forwards as if you're pulling yourself away from those hip bones and then come back down. So this is effectively a hinge lift. Much like we've done in bridge, you're not looking to segmentally lift, you're not looking to curl and arch the body into back extension. You're just going to lift from the hips, from the base of the spine. Okay, last one. And you're trying to let yourself grow long and ease yourself forward, making space in the whole of the spine and come back down, pausing here. Okay, so let's take our thoughts towards our legs. As you exhale this next time, the shoulders are reasonably relaxed, but I'm going to just ask you to lift your right leg only in parallel and down. Single straight leg lift, okay? Toenails are facing the floor. Single straight leg lift. Now this might feel a bit uncomfortable. Our normal functional range of movement for a lift like this would probably be to bend the knee, okay? Because that would be part of our walking pattern. But I want you to keep the legs straight for the moment, but be aware that you might not get a huge lift, yes? You're not necessarily going to get much more than maybe 30, 40 centimeters max. Maybe only 10 or 20 centimeters, that is fine, but make sure you exhale as you lift and bring that belly to spine, please. Last one, and pause there. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and find our upper body lift. When you're ready, breathe in, exhale, and dig into those elbows, roll the shoulder blades back and lift your upper body. So you're looking down towards the mat, forehead is in parallel to the mat, pulling yourself forward, making space. Holding here, we're going to breathe in and repeat our single leg lift. Just a gentle lift and lower. Now this may be even more tricky to get a lift, in which case if you're finding you're struggling, you can widen the legs slightly, okay, which might make it easier for you. But we're really talking about a very small lift, please, guys. You're not dumping into that lower back because you're pulling forwards. You're just doing a small control lift, release. Okay, last two. Last one. And then coming back down, sliding your elbows forward, popping your hands one on top of each other, and forehead is on that top hand, okay? So a familiar position for us with our heads on our hands. Okay, Pull your knees up into a frog leg position for me, please, so that they're wide, and your feet then elevate up towards the ceiling, as you see here. So you've kind of got an upside down tabletop in a way, kind of. Heels are up and frog's legs for me. Okay. Again, shoulders are pulling down. Belly is in and there's space in this upper body. So you're finding control by bringing everything in. Find that vacuum packing of this upper body. When you exhale this next time, the pelvic floor is in and you're going to simply lift one knee off the floor and hopefully your thigh bone will come with you. Okay, breathing in, exhale, switch to the other side. Breathe in, exhale, switch. Now, guys, if you're really struggling with this in a frog leg position or it's just not comfortable for your lower back, you're more than welcome to bring those feet back into parallel and just gently lift a single leg in a parallel position, okay? Perhaps being out wide is a little bit too deep for your lower back. If also you're feeling that this is a bit of a struggle, you can go ahead and pop those legs out super wide and just do much like swimming, a single leg lift in a really super wide stance, and there's no bend of the knee. Okay, so many variants for us there as we go into our progressions. Okay, modify, modify, modify. Okay, so we've done our singles. We're nicely relaxed and down and pulling forward, making space with the spine, working on the left and right frog leg lift. From here, we're going to see if we can go into doubles. Okay, so when you're ready, breathe in. As you exhale, belly to spine, shoulder blades down, double leg lift as if you're just trying to think of both thigh bones lifting off the floor. It can be maybe just a millimeter or two, maybe 3 or 4, depending on your flexibility. Again, any sign of discomfort in the lower back, go back to singles or pop those legs out super wide and just work on your single wide leg lifts, okay? Well done. Breathe in, remember, and big exhale, zip in, lower, longer through the spine, lengthen through the spine. Last 2. Gorgeous. And final one, great stuff. And then let those legs come back down and into parallel. Well done. Okay, keeping your arms where they are with your head resting on your shoulders. We're going to just do one last final piece with these legs. Okay, so we're going to now lift our left leg up towards the ceiling. So it's just a single straight leg lift. All righty, so you're currently in parallel to your mat, the long end of the mat. Your shoulder blades are back and down, tummy is in. We're imagining this leg being about 5, 10, 20 centimeters off the floor. I'm going to ask you just to take that leg out towards the side, 45 degrees to point out towards that side corner of the room, back into parallel and down. When you're ready, breathe in, exhale, the right leg lifts and heads out towards the side, back to center and down. Breathe in, exhale, left leg lifts to hip height, out to the side, back to center and down. And lift out to the side and center and down. Left leg lifts for me, please. Out towards the side, pausing here out wide. And touch the floor and back up to the wide position. Staying wide, touch the floor into the lift and the wide position. So you're staying with this leg out towards the side. It's a straight leg and you're just touching the floor out there at that diagonal off the corner of the mat there. You're just lowering and raising. And last 2. And last 1. And then gently bring your leg back to center and back into parallel. Breathe in and lift your right leg out towards that diagonal corner. Now we're holding there and we're going to just touch down and up. Hold out to the corner and touch down and up. Hold out for 4, touch down, for 3, touch down, last 2, and final 1. Gorgeous, well done. Bring that leg back into parallel and feet are back on the mat. Well done. Tuck your toes under, pop your hands by your shoulders. We're gently going to lift our bottoms and lever up and over into a lovely child's pose, pressing with your heels of the hands here into the mat and just gently pushing your bottoms towards your heels. A couple of nice big stretches, breaths, to stretch into that spine area. Well done. Okay, so folks, we're just going to gently tap our toes under, walk our hands slightly forward, broadening the knees and feet if you wish. We're lifting into a V stretch. So up we go onto our toes, lifting our knees off the mat, and just pause here for a moment. The head is between the hands, sorry, between the arms. If you can, shoulder blades are back and down. And I'd like you to just to pedal the heels. In other words, just pressing alternate heels towards the mat. Stretching a little bit down the back posterior chain of these muscles around the back of the lower leg and the knee joint. Okay, from here, pause, and I'd like you to just lift both heels off the floor, and you're right on those tippy toes, and just gently push your pubic bone away from the direction of your nose, as if you're tilting that pelvis away from you, and you'll get a stretch a bit higher up in the back of the hamstrings and the legs. Okay, so from here, I want you to release the heels, soften the knees, and I want you to now think about your shoulder blades and press them away from each other and gently bring your head forwards. And you're just going to think about your being in a little bit of an upper body cat stretch. And then push back into your V stretch. Breathe in, exhale, broadening the shoulder blades, gently lift the belly, gently lift the mid-spine towards the ceiling. So you're in this raised, elevated cat stretch position. And back into V. This time, now we're going to walk our feet towards our hands. This week, inching those feet slowly forwards. Bend the knees, okay? And when you get to a position where you can transfer your weight into the feet, just very gently bring in the tummy, bring in the pelvic floors. Hands can walk up the legs if you need to. We've been down there for a little while, so you're more than welcome to support yourself. As you roll back up into standing, nice and super steady, nice and super slow, and lifting your gaze to horizon, feet in parallel. Okay, I'd like you to just go ahead and take your right leg and cross it over your left leg for me. All right, well done. Lifting your arms towards the ceiling into double arm float. Let's go ahead and take a little stretch over towards the right. Well done. A gentle gaze down towards the floor is maybe a bridge too far on balance, but see how far you get. And with that, if you can't do that gentle look down to the floor, just continue holding by the side. Bring yourself back to center and take your palms forwards towards me. We're going to dive over, so your legs are still crossed. You're going to dive over and just see how far you can hang out here forwards. Okay, with a little stretch with those legs crossed. Okay, when you're ready to come back up, tummy in, chin to chest, peel back up into standing, arms down by your side, switching over right leg over the left. Well done. Okay, lifting into double arm float. Well done. Into slight lateral flexion towards the left there, just gently easing over towards the left, stretch the side of the body. Lots of nice side bend work, done a fantastic job. Well done. A gentle look down if you feel you're not going to then be wibbly wobbling and falling over, in which case you can just stay looking at the front, that's not a problem. And bring yourself to center. And in parallel, pausing here, regroup, hands forwards, diving forwards into a gentle roll down and a bit of a stretch at the back of the hamstrings there. Legs stay straight if you can. Just hang out here for a moment, see how you feel. Just pausing, relaxing, observing. Exhale, pull the tummy in and reset the spine. Bring your feet in parallel. Well done. Gorgeous. Alrighty, so feet in parallel, hands down by your sides, reach your fingertips to the floor. Let's go ahead and just take a lovely breath in and really feel that expansion of the chest, that lift through the whole of the vertebrae. And as you exhale, zip and hollow, find that inner core, find that lovely draw up of the pelvic floor area. Breathing in. Exhale, feel like you did at the beginning of the class, super strong through the core and almost weightless through the arms and the legs, pulling up through the pelvic floor. And the limbs are just simply hanging out there, holding you up. Your pelvis perfectly stacked over the knees and ankles. One more breath in. Exhale, zip and hollow. Open your eyes. And we are done. Well done. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me for this lower body workout this week. Okay, our week 2 in our 6-week series. So thanks again, guys. And any messages, just message, or any concerns or questions, just message me. And hopefully see you again next week. Have a good week now. Take care. Bye-bye.